Oh, hello everyone. It's Susie Crew here from Esoteric Trading Solutions. I hope you're all well, looking after yourself, being kind to yourself, being kind to your beautiful putty cats, your beautiful dogs, being kind to your parents, all your friends, being kind to people in the world just to make this a better world. I'm old-fashioned, and honestly, I think people, whether it's in business or personal, should be treated with absolute respect, and people seem to have lost respect, the good old-fashioned values of just being a nice person and being respectful and doing the right thing. So what I'd like to do and discuss today is one of my subscribers on YouTube, Mr. Lawrence Gulliver. Thank you very much, Lawrence Gulliver, for sending me this this respond to one of my videos on XRP. Asked me to comment on Faizal Khan and his comments on XRP. He said he seems to have worked in cross-border payments for a long time, which is not true. This guy, I've got to tell you, I've never heard of this guy, but honestly, you've got to really take it with a grain of salt. People that have no experience in financial markets, in banking, and in settlements and in cross payment systems. Okay, this guy has no experience whatsoever. It makes me laugh, and I can prove it all to you, because honestly, you just don't listen to people like this. This guy calls himself a specialist. With no disrespect, Mr. Faizal Khan, I don't believe a word that comes out of your mouth. You shouldn't be putting yourself across as a specialist in cross-border payments or cross-border payment systems or foreign currency or settlements or front office, because you've had no experience. And we can go to LinkedIn, which is a professional networking database that shows people's professionalism and where they've worked and their experience, and I'll prove it to everyone out there. This guy knows bumpkin. In Australian speak, this guy knows absolutely nothing, and he's not a specialist in terms of settlement systems and in terms of what XRP and Ripple are capable of. Okay, that's number one. Number two, he doesn't seem to understand what a bridging currency is. He tends to think, Mr. Faisal tends to think, that all currencies are capable of being bridging currencies, which is totally incorrect. He tends to think that XRP is the same as a bridging currency, a fiat bridging currency, when that is totally incorrect, and we'll go through that as well. He uses this word bridging currency is interchangeable between liquidity and onshore or offshore demand of liquidity. And again, they are not interchangeable. Bridging currencies with liquidity and payment systems. And he tends to also use interchangeably payment systems, XRP, bridging currencies, and liquidity. This guy does not know what he's talking about, and I cannot be more emphatical than that. And often you do get people that talk about XRP and Ripple, they're against it because they don't understand it and they have no idea. It's like I've said before, people, I don't talk about cars, I don't talk about mechanics, I don't talk about how to fix a car, because I'm not a trained mechanic like my nephews that went to mechanic school for 3 or 4 years and have had apprenticeship experience working as a mechanic. Because I don't know anything about mechanics, I don't get on YouTube and talk about how to fix a car and then put myself across as a specialist, you know, in fixing cars. Like this guy puts himself as a specialist in cross-border payments when the guy's got no skill set or experience. Man, it just makes me cross. It makes me cross, seriously. Okay, so let's just go to LinkedIn, right? Now, LinkedIn is a professional networking space where all professionals like myself, okay, all professionals like myself and anyone else puts in all their experience and where they've worked. And people, you know, that you've worked with over time will know exactly your experience, because they know you've worked in the market and they know exactly who you are. Okay, so if we go to Mr. Faizal Khan, he puts himself down as a banking and payments consultant, cross-border money transfer settlements, and he's in Istanbul, Turkey. Now this guy, I've got to say, Mr. Faizal Khan, you are not qualified or experienced enough, you don't have the experience in banking and finance to say that you are a cross-border money transfer specialist. Have you ever worked on front office in foreign exchange? Have you ever done cross-border payments? Have you ever done currency swaps, interest rate currency swaps, or currency swaps, FX currency swaps? Have you ever done foreign currency derivatives? Have you ever managed a foreign currency bond book or a foreign currency equity book where you're required to do cross-border money payments through the SWIFT system, right? Now, we can go through your resume with a fine-tooth comb, and I'll prove it to everyone out there in video land. You've got to find out the background of people that you're listening to. You know, this guy or anyone else that says, you know, they know something about something, you know, what happens if they've just worked in a fish and chip shop all their life? You're going to listen to them? You know, what happens if they've just, you know, been digging ditches all their life, or they've just been working in one section of a corporate or a finance area? They may know absolutely nothing about cross-border, you know, payment systems and specialist systems, right, that I know about. You know, some little punk said to me, oh, you know, you belong in the kitchen. I mean, how misogynistic is that shit? You know, and how pathetic is that crap? You know, I've got news for little punks like that. You know, you show your face and I'll bite your head off. But this guy, seriously, this guy does not know anything about treasury management. He knows nothing about core banking. He knows nothing. Okay, and let's go through this, right? What does he call himself? You know, he reckons he's a payments and banking consultant, right? Okay, so let's go here. Okay, he set up his own company. Nice. He's got his own name there. That's very, you know, egotistical, as most, you know, egotistical Mr. Faizal Khan, right? So the next one he's got is co-host. 6 years and 6 months, co-host around the coin. Where is the settlement system and cross-border experience? So he's in his own company and he says he does all this stuff, which is a joke because he doesn't have the specialization for it. The 6 years he was a co-host around the coin. What does that mean? So he was a podcaster with Brian someone. The ATC podcast is a weekly hour-long podcast that is geared towards the payments, banking, and money space. Well, where's your experience, man? Where's your experience of working in financial markets all your life and doing SWIFT settlement payments, doing payments through the central banks of Europe or the US or Australia? Where's your experience of managing global money in foreign currency, whether it be euro, whether it be yen, whether it be US dollars, whether it be, you know, the Swahili dollar, whether it be something so totally liquid, because not all currencies have liquidity. Volume and liquidity are completely different. Okay, now let me give you an example of this, right? The US dollar is one of the most liquid currencies in the world. It can have a lot of volume, but what we mean by liquidity, and I haven't even prepared for this, okay, because I know this stuff just off my head because I've had, you know, I've been in banking and finance and financial markets and settlement systems and cross-border payment systems, and I've done it all since I was about 18, okay? So now, you know, 40 years later, I don't even need to prepare for this because I know all this stuff. You know, what experience has he had in doing any of this stuff? Nothing. We go to this third one here. He's got advisor, credit, fix, pick. What does that mean? In Pakistan, 2 years. So where's the experience for, you know, settlement systems and Austraclear and SWIFT and, you know, doing international swaps with cryptocurrency or with foreign currency, whatever it means? There's no experience, okay? So then we go to advisor, invest to innovate. What does that mean? So he goes that, oh, he went into a startup community and growth markets. What does that mean? It's no settlements experience in terms of cross-border payment systems. We're a startup community forming, yeah, we know that. So what did he do here? You know, innovator. You know, what is he talking about here? Nothing to do with foreign exchange and managing foreign exchange money. Now, if we go back to the US dollar, which is the highest liquid currency in the world, the buy-sell spread is barely anything. Okay, the buy-sell spread on US yen, for example, might be 107, 107.7. You know, on the office side, you know, it might be 107, 107.7011, right? So there's no spread between the buy and the sell spread. That is liquidity, which is separate again to volume. You can have volume on any currency, but it doesn't mean anything gets traded, okay? And what I mean by that is you could have volume at 300 mil on the buy side and 600 mil on the offer side, the sell side, but nothing gets traded. And if nothing gets traded, there's no liquidity, because the buyer and the seller want to operate at different levels. They want to buy at a different level and they want to sell at a different level, which is no liquidity. So not all foreign currency has liquidity, right? Not all foreign currencies can act as a bridge currency because they don't have liquidity, right? They don't have a liquidity. Also, he forgets to understand, Mr. Faizal, that fiat currency is issued by governments, the central bank of the US, right? The Fed, okay? So what happens is if the US government and the central bank, the Fed, keep issuing foreign currency, issue US dollars into the market, they keep selling US dollars into the market and their debt position gets larger and larger, just like it did in Germany, right? Just like it did in Germany before the collapse of the Deutschmark, right? In the 1930s, right? The US government continues to issue more US dollar debt into the capital financial markets, right? And with that, it's akin to selling the US dollar. That's why the US dollar against the US yen is going down, and it looks like it's going to go down even further, because when you keep issuing debt into the US market, you're actually selling US dollars, okay? So I'll show you something. So let's go to US debt org, okay? The debt position of the US market, the US, right? Okay, so, oh no, I don't want that one. US debt position, debt clock, that's what I'm after. So what it means is, as their debt position gets worse and worse, right, it means that the US cannot use their own currency to pay back their debt. Now, I looked at this probably about 7 months ago, and this debt position was $22 trillion, right? So in the space of maybe 7 or 8 or 9 months, this US debt position is now 25 trillion. And this is a function of the US continuing to issue US dollars into the financial markets, right? Which is akin to selling US dollars. Now, US dollar against the yen will continue to depreciate because it's against a balance sheet, being the US government, right? The US financials of the whole country, okay? The financials, just like a balance sheet of a personal balance sheet. Money comes in and money goes out. And if we keep spending too much money, we owe the banks more money and the credit card companies more money than what we actually had in our savings account. So therefore, we run up a debt position that we can't pay back. Now, that means if the US dollar is against the security of the US balance sheet, and the US balance sheet has more debt by virtue of this US national debt, then effectively the US government is broke and the US dollar should be worth nothing, right? Now, where am I going with this? So if the US dollar government is broke and they keep issuing US dollars, it actually makes US dollars go down, and it means US dollars will not stay at a high level, and you'll actually lose money by holding US dollars, more so than losing money by holding XRP, because XRP doesn't keep getting more and more issued into the market. They don't keep creating more XRP, okay? Right? So in other words, XRP doesn't continue to get sold down because they keep creating more XRP. And XRP is not against a balance sheet which is in a debt position like the US government balance sheet is. XRP is against a balance sheet of Ripple, which holds heaps of money. Ripple's balance sheet is actually better than the US government's balance sheet because Ripple actually make a lot of money. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying here is the US government currency is actually going down and getting worse. And if you look at technical picture of the US yen, the US currency, and I've said this before, the US yen's at about 107.73. The US yen looks like it's going down to 100. In other words, there'll be an appreciation of the yen against the US dollar. So you want to be sitting in Japan and earning yen receipts, because the US dollar is going to continue to go down. And a matter of fact, it could even go down below 100. And I'm on record for saying this. I think the US yen is going to get to 77, right? Which means there's going to be a massive depreciation of the US dollar, just like in Germany pre-1933. Now, XRP will not react the same way, because XRP's financials are better when we look at the financials of Ripple, and also XRP don't keep increasing the supply of XRP, okay? So not all cryptocurrencies or not all fiat currency can act as a bridging currency, not when we have a massive depreciation in the currency, Mr. Khan, which tells me you don't know anything. You honestly don't know anything. Now, Ripple and XRP are more than just a bridging currency. They're a bridging currency, number one, because they have liquidity. Number two, they're not going to default or fall or decline or depreciate the way the US dollar is going to do. Number three, RippleNet is more than just XRP, okay? XRP and RippleNet are connected, right? If you use RippleNet by itself with XRP, by itself in a settlement system, which settles instantly within 3 seconds, and foreign currency can't do that. Foreign currency at the best of times through SWIFT can only settle within 2 days, okay? I haven't prepared for this. I just know this stuff because I've worked in this market all my life. Foreign currency, when it's good, settles within 2 days. But if foreign currency is a liquid, and it's something like, you know, the Bolivia, which you've smartly suggested, Mr. Khan, which is pretty stupid, because the Bolivia has declined 66% in the last, 3 months. It's depreciated. In other words, the Bolivia is not worth anything, right? And it's not liquid, and it's not a bridge of currency exchange. That's for bloody sure. All right. So, as I said, RippleNet is more than just XRP as a currency. RippleNet is a technical system, a platform that has smart contracts. That's number one, is a platform. So it's in competition with Ethereum. It's in competition with Waves. It's in competition with Tron. It's in competition with Ethereum Classic. It's in competition with all those platforms, EOS. It's in competition with, there's so many different platforms, right? So not only is Ripple and XRP in competition with other platforms, also, as I said, if you use Ripple without XRP, with foreign currency, because it can settle instantly, you save 30 cents in the dollar. If you use RippleNet with XRP, you save 70 cents in the dollar, okay? Now, another thing, RippleNet and XRP are more than just a bridging currency. RippleNet make money by selling their technical system of instant cash settlement. No one can do that. No one in the whole world can do that. Settling 2,000 transactions per second or up to 50,000 transactions per second with foreign currency, Mr. Faizal Khan, or whatever your name is, okay? Ripple is more than just a bridging currency. Ripple, the business, has a platform that can turn itself into an exchange, okay? Cryptocurrency exchange, a stock market, a blockchain of any sort, a bank, for example. Ripple itself, excuse me, invest in other projects, other cryptocurrency projects. So once it does that, it says to people, please use our XRP. That's number one. Number two, Ripple invest in corporations, i.e. MoneyGram, where they bought 8% of the share register at $4.05, and basically it cost them $50 million. So Ripple, the business, bought MoneyGram 8% at $4.05, $50 million, and said, right, you guys use XRP. MoneyGram have millions and millions and millions of clients that Ripple get access to with the use of XRP as well. Okay, MoneyGram uses Ripple's system. Now, Ripple, as I said, can invest in other corporates, right? Where Ripple can make money. Now, if it's true that Western Union want to take over MoneyGram, they're going to pay MoneyGram probably about $15 per share if we look at other takeover bids for MoneyGram, okay? Which I mentioned yesterday on my YouTube. So that means that Ripple and XRP, not just a bridging currency, Ripple as the business has made a strategic investment in another corporation and has made more than 300%, 400%, 800% return, depending where the takeover offer for MoneyGram is going to go, right? So Ripple and XRP are more than just a bridging currency. And as I said before, not all cryptocurrency can be a bridging currency, and not all fiat currency can be a bridging currency because number one, it doesn't have the liquidity. In other words, the buy-sell spread is too wide, no liquidity. Number two, no volume. Number three, not enough people using the bridging currency. Number four, the bridging currency is devaluing and going down because it's attached to the balance sheet of a central bank - government that doesn't know how to manage their finances properly, okay? And more than that, there's more, right? So getting back to XRP, another thing you said incorrectly, Mr. Khan, anyone can hold XRP. A bank can hold XRP. I can hold XRP. A corporate can hold XRP. You know, an immigration agent can hold XRP. An importer can hold XRP. You know, an accountant can hold XRP. An exporter can hold XRP. XRP can be held by anyone, okay? Now, I can buy XRP through the exchanges as a big corporate or a big dealer. I can buy it through the exchanges, or I can buy it through Ripple, through their treasury operation in an over-the-counter deal. If I want to buy 5 billion of Ripple, 5 billion of XRP, if I bought it through the exchanges, again, the price is going to go up and there's going to be no XRP left on the exchanges. So I would go through Ripple and their treasury to do an over-the-counter purchasing of XRP, okay? And that's a fact, right? You know, honestly, you shouldn't be saying anything, Mr. Khan, because you honestly don't know what you're talking about. XRP can replace special drawing rights, okay? Not every bridging currency can do that because, as I said, the bridging currency itself has terrible credit quality. The country is being downgraded. The currency itself is in the cycle of collapse. It's going down, 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 right? It cannot settle. It has terrible political risk. So in other words, I wouldn't go and buy Pakistani currency because of the political risk and the terrorist risk in Pakistan, right? I wouldn't use that as a bridging currency because the government's corrupt and, you know, you run the risk the Pakistani, whatever it is, rupiah or whatever it's called, is going to go down. Why would I go and buy Pakistani, whatever it is? Because of all those risks, country risk, political risk, settlement risk, political terrorist risk, whatever you want to call it. So again, not every foreign currency can be a bridging currency. Ripple is even more than just, you know, Ripple / XRP as a bridging currency. You know, they're going into all sorts of things, right? They're going into, you know, as I said, smart contracts. They're going into YouTube. They're competing with lots of different people on all levels, you know? And these guys have millions and millions and millions of clients, more than anyone else, right? These guys would have more clients than some of the, you know, some of the foreign currency pairs out there, which are totally illiquid and cannot be used. Out of all the foreign currency pairs in the world, and I think, gosh, there's probably thousands of them, there's probably only about 5 foreign currency pairs that are actually liquid, right? Out of all the foreign currency pairs in the world, you know, which would be US yen, clearly, you know, Euro US, okay, Aussie US, Pound US, US CAD, and maybe a couple of others, right? But there are thousands of foreign currency pairs, and most of them are not liquid and would not be a bridging currency. Okay, so I've got to say, you're completely wrong, man. You're completely wrong, and you have no idea, and you're not qualified to talk about XRP and settlement systems at all. Where's your trading experience? Where's your settlements experience? None. Courier network, Cora network, where's your settlements system experience? Where's your managing money experience with foreign currency? You say you're a foreign currency specialist, cross-border, which means you don't have domestic currency. It's actually foreign currency that has to go over the border, right, to another country. That's what that means. So where's your experience here, man? Where is it? I'm looking. Where is it? Oh, so you work for Cora Network. That doesn't tell us anything. Then you work for you're a member of director, whatever that is, for Karachi and something, and you worked in, you know, a full range of capital market products. But what did you do? I want to know what you did, you know? I want to know what you did. Did you have hands-on experience dealing in settlement systems and cross-border payments, which means cross-border payment is foreign currency to another country? Where's that experience? Please tell me, because I can't see, right? Istanbul, cross-border payments consultant, the sender, whatever, payment service company. You're a consultant, but where the hell is your experience? That's what I want to know. How can you be a consultant of something when you've got no experience? That's beyond me, man. Tell me something. Am I missing the point here? And then you've got this thing, member of a board of advisors, identifying payments associations in business, but you've got no experience. Where is it? Where is it? Everex, a startup technology company in blockchain, big deal. Where's your experience? Man, you're a fraud. Faizal Khan, you're a fraud. I have to say this. You've got no experience, and you shouldn't be putting yourself out as a specialist in cross-border money market transfer. Seriously, because in Australia, you get in trouble for that. You say you're in Turkey or Pakistan. Well, I suppose they're not as strict over there as they are in my country. But, man, you shouldn't be saying anything because you don't have the experience. Okay, let's go further down on his resume here. So, innovative solution, you know, again, global digital payments. It's not foreign currency. No money management of foreign currency at all, where you need to do cross-border payments on a daily basis. He's in startups. No business management skills at all. Operations. Where's the, you know, he says mittens, but again, that's not foreign currency. You know, you don't have the experience, man. You're not a specialist. This is all wrong. You know, I'm sorry, but you know, I'm out here saying you're an absolute fraud, man, because you're not qualified to talk about XRP and Ripplenet. And oh yeah, now I've got it because I'm starting to understand YouTube. So if you talk about Ripplenet and XRP, you get a lot of viewers. Is that how it works? Yeah, because a lot of people are actually interested in XRP and Ripplenet. But the thing is, you're actually telling lies and incorrect things, okay? Because XRP is not just about XRP, right? You know, XRP also has Ripplenet, right? And Ripplenet has XRP. And together, they can do great things. And together, the whole world is starting to know who they are. The International Monetary Fund knows about XRP and Ripplenet. And you reckon they're just nothing to worry about? They're just someone like a fish and chip shop, Mr. Khan? What about, you know, the Bank of International Settlements, you know, who gives out all the regulatory prudential requirements for all the banks all over the world, 50,000 banks in the world. So we don't worry about them, and they know about XRP and Ripplenet. What about the central bank, the US Treasury? They know about XRP and Ripplenet. What about the Security Exchange Commission of the US? They know about XRP and Ripplenet. Oh, but they're just like every other, you know, what do you call it? Every other, you know, bridge currency. Well, Ripplenet itself is not a bridge currency, and many other fiat currencies are not bridging currencies. So you don't even know what a bridging currency means, okay? The European Central Bank knows about Ripplenet and also knows about XRP. Even on Netflix, I was watching a series called The Zoo, where the animals take over the world, and I think they should, because humans are so cruel to animals, and particularly in places like Pakistan, they're so cruel to animals, it's just disgusting. Even the zoo where the animals take over the world, and I think they should, as I said, you know, they mention RippleNet and XRP. So you're just like that other guy, what's his name, and I'm not going to say it, who hates XRP and loves Bitcoin, puts it down and says it's a scam, but the reality is it's not, because XRP has over 300 corporate clients and banks and money payment, international money payment systems, which, and they all have millions and millions of clients, right? Millions. Bank of Thailand has 16 million clients, right? You know, MoneyGram has millions of clients, right? You know, Liao has millions of clients, one of Ripple's corporate clients in China. You know, Ripple's been allowed to operate in Singapore without a license because the Monetary Authority of Singapore are very, very smart, and they realize that Hong Kong is not going to be around like it used to operate because of the Chinese story. The Chinese government's going to take over Hong Kong in terms of control and compliance. So Singapore is going to become the financial hub of Asia. And the Singapore government, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, has invited Ripple like Binance in without even the need for a license, right? So you obviously don't know anything about that either, because you're too stupid and you don't know what you're talking about. Look, man, you should go back to whatever you did, because seriously, you don't know jack, okay? And you're talking absolute garbology, and anyone that listens to you, you're just talking garbology, fair income. What can I say, Mr. Khan? You're not experienced enough. Mr. Faizal Khan, you're talking garbology, and that's all there is to it, okay? RippleNet, XRP, as I've said before, will be and is the #1 cryptocurrency out of all those cryptocurrencies that I've reviewed and looked at, and those projects. And I've looked at hundreds and hundreds of reviews. I've done hundreds and hundreds of reviews. Talk to any of my clients. I've done hundreds and hundreds of reviews, right? Look at TrustNet. I've got what references on there from my business dealings. And honestly, man, you just should stick to something else, because you're really not qualified and you're telling lies. And the fact that you're on YouTube telling lies, I tell you, what else can I say, man? You're just like that other guy that tells lies and he's got no idea. And the thing is, he calls it a scam, XRP and Ripple, but the fact of the matter is, if it was, Ripple wouldn't exist. They'd be sued from here to, you know, to the moon, okay? They'd be sued and they wouldn't exist. The fact is, RippleNet and XRP work, and no other cryptocurrency can do what they do, right? And not even the banks or any other fiat currency can do what RippleNet and XRP do. So, mate, just, you know, this is lies, and you could be sued on this. You know, you could be sued on this, okay? So, seriously, you got to, you know, in Australia, you'd be sued for putting yourself out as something that you're not, okay? Anyway, guys, that's what I want to say. I couldn't say it stronger than that. Thanks very much, you know, letting me know for this, because I didn't know anything about this guy. Lawrence, I really appreciate it. So I hope that clears up everything. If you want me to say anything else, man, I'm very happy to. This guy has no friggin' idea. He's an idiot. And I know you've got to be kind to people, but it really makes me cross when it comes to RippleNet and XRP, because they're so stupid, because they don't have the experience, they don't understand it, they don't understand the technology, and then they say idiotic things like that, okay? But as I said, you got to look at LinkedIn, okay? This tells you the experience of people, right? This guy's got no experience. He might as well just work in a fish and chip shop, seriously. All right, guys, enough of me. Thanks for listening, and if you've got any questions, please do come back to me. Thank you.